The crimson dust of Vastrian covered everything. It clung to Commander Nikolai Reeves' expedition suit, infiltrated his portable shelter, and even seemed to find its way into his dreams. 6 months alone on this desolate moon had tested his sanity, but today made every moment of isolation worthwhile. Finally, he whispered, his breath fogging the inside of his helmet as he stood before the massive structure. The alien vault loomed before him, its surface etched with symbols from the lost Meridian civilization. Symbols that had consumed 15 years of his life to decipher. Nikolai ran his gloved fingers over the intricate glyphs, feeling the subtle vibrations beneath them. His translator device hummed, converting the ancient script. Within darkness sleeps salvation and destruction. Bound as one. The warning gave him pause, but he had come too far to turn back. With careful precision, he entered the translation sequence into his field console. The ancient door groaned, releasing a hiss of pressurized air that had been sealed for millennia. The vault interior glowed with soft blue light, illuminating a single stasis pod at its center. Nikolai approached cautiously, wiping centuries of dust from its crystalline surface. What he saw inside stole his breath. A woman, or something close to human, floated in suspension. Her skin was pale violet, marked with bioluminescent patterns that pulsed with life. Her hair, a deep indigo that seemed to absorb light, framed features too perfect to be natural. Most striking were the twin blades crossed over her chest, their edges gleaming with an energy that had not dimmed despite the passage of time. Unbelievable, Nikolai murmured, documenting everything with his field recorder. A preserved Meridian warrior? But the proportions are almost human. ... Double quotes, his scanner revealed the truth. She was not Meridian. She was something engineered, a perfect fusion of human and alien genetics. A weapon. The stasis field flickered suddenly, and Nikolai jumped back as the pod began its awakening sequence. He should run. Every instinct screamed to seal this vault and forget what he'd found. But scientific curiosity rooted him to the spot. The pod opened with a whisper, and the woman's eyes snapped open, brilliant amber irises with vertical pupils that fixed on him with predatory focus. She moved with impossible speed, standing before him in seconds. Her blades drawn, but held downward. Then, to his astonishment, she knelt, offering the weapons to him, hilts first. "What are you doing?" he asked, his voice unsteady. She remained motionless, head bowed. When she finally spoke, her voice was melodic but halting, as if she were remembering how to form words. "I am Tessa," she said. The name clearly not her original designation, but something she could pronounce in his language. "Created to end you. Programmed to serve you first." Nikolai's mind raced. Created to end me? That's impossible. The Meridians died out thousands of years ago. Not Meridians, she corrected. The Syndicate. They placed me here, knowing you would come. First contact, then trust, then elimination. Her honesty was disarming. If you're programmed to kill me, why tell me? Primary directive conflicts with secondary protocol. I must serve truth to the chosen before execution. You are chosen. Her eyes remained fixed on his. You may command me now. Later I will have no choice. Nikolai understood with horrifying clarity. She was a sleeper agent, genetically programmed with competing directives. Right now, her servitude protocol was active. Later, her assassination programming would override everything. Can it be stopped? Your killing directive? A slight hesitation. Unknown, his research station suddenly shuddered, dust raining from the ceiling. The emergency alert in his helmet flashed red, massive tectonic activity. This section of the moon was becoming unstable. We need to leave, he said, making a split-second decision. Now, Tessa rose in one fluid motion, returning her blades to sheaths on her back. Command accepted. As they raced through collapsing corridors, Nikolai's mind spun with questions. Who was the Syndicate? How had they known he would discover this vault? And most importantly, was he leading his own assassin to safety? At the entrance to his research station, Tessa suddenly pushed him aside. A heartbeat later, a security turret emerged from hidden compartments, firing directly where he had been standing. With terrifying efficiency, she disabled it. Her movements a blur of precision and deadly grace. "Your presence activated dormant security," she explained. A thin line of silvery blood seeping from a graze on her arm, in the relative safety of his station. Nikolai faced the impossible choice before him. The evacuation shuttle could take them off-world before the moon tore itself apart, but every moment with Tessa brought him closer to her inevitable betrayal. Yet, something in her amber eyes held more than programmed obedience. There was a question there, perhaps even a plea. Whatever she was, whoever had made her, she hadn't chosen her purpose. "I won't leave you here," he decided, gathering emergency supplies. "But I need your word that you'll fight your programming when the time comes." Tessa tilted her head, considering his request with alien intensity. "I cannot promise, but I will try." She touched her blades. "For now, they are yours. I am yours." As Vastrian trembled beneath them, Nikolai made the gamble of his life. He would free the assassin meant to kill him, and hope that freedom might be stronger than programming. The evacuation shuttle shuddered as it broke Vastrian's atmosphere, the dying moon's gravitational fluctuations testing the small craft's structural integrity. Nikolai gripped the controls tighter, forcing the vessel to hold course while the automated distress beacon pinged into the void. "Structural integrity at 67%, announced. The ship's AI recommend immediate course correction to reduce strain. Nikolai ignored the suggestion, keeping them on a trajectory that would put maximum distance between them and the moon's imminent collapse. In the co-pilot seat, Tessa sat unnaturally still, her amber eyes fixed on the viewport as the twin moons of the Callidian system came into view. "How did you know my name?" Nikolai finally asked, breaking the tense silence. "When you woke, you knew who I was." Tessa's bioluminescent markings pulsed slightly as she turned to face him. "Your genetic signature was imprinted in my creation. I would recognize you on any world, in any form." "That's impossible," he muttered. "The Syndicate, whoever they are, couldn't have known I would discover that vault. I only learned about the Meridian outpost 3 years ago. They did not predict. They orchestrated." Her voice remained even, emotionless. "Your research grants, the archaeological data that led you here, all were manipulated breadcrumbs." The revelation hit Nikolai like a physical blow. His entire career, his life's work uncovering the mysteries of the Meridian civilization, had been guided by unseen hands. He had been nothing more than a pawn moving precisely as intended. "Why me?" he demanded, anger rising. "What makes me so important that they'd engineer someone like you to kill me?" For the first time, uncertainty flickered across Tessa's perfect features. "That information was not included in my programming." The shuttle lurched violently as a shockwave from Vastrian caught them. Warning lights flashed across the console as the engines strained to compensate. "Hull breach detected in cargo section," the AI warned. "Emergency seals engaged. We need to set down somewhere to make repairs," Nikolai said, scanning the navigation system. "There's a mining outpost on Callidian Minor, but it's controlled by the hegemony. They're not exactly friendly to Union researchers." "The hegemony has ties to the Syndicate," Tessa stated. "We cannot go there." Nikolai shot her a surprised look. "How do you know that?" "Tactical information is embedded in my design. The hegemony provides resources and political protection to Syndicate operations." The implications were staggering. The hegemony was one of the 3 major powers in this sector, supposedly neutral in the ongoing Cold War between the Union and the Coalition. If they were secretly backing this mysterious Syndicate, "We're running out of options," Nikolai muttered. Watching the fuel reserves dwindle, Tessa suddenly reached for the navigation controls, her movements precise. "There is a sanctuary moon orbiting the gas giant. Unmarked on official charts, we can reach it before system failure." Nikolai hesitated, then nodded, allowing her to input the coordinates. As the shuttle changed course, he noticed a subtle change in her demeanor, a new tension in her shoulders, a tightness around her eyes. "Your killing directive," he said quietly. "It's getting stronger, isn't it?" She didn't answer immediately, focusing instead on the navigation panel. When she finally spoke, her voice had lost some of its mechanical quality. Yes, with each hour, the primary programming reasserts. I feel it ... growing. How long do we have? 3 standard days. Perhaps less. The sanctuary moon loomed ahead, a small, green-hued satellite partially hidden in the gas giant's shadow. As they began their descent, Tessa suddenly unbuckled her restraints and knelt beside Nikolai's chair. Drawing one of her blades, Nikolai tensed, preparing for the worst. But she didn't raise the weapon against him. Instead, she pressed the edge against her own palm, drawing a line of silvery blood. "What are you doing?" he asked, alarmed. "Blood oath," she replied, offering the blade to him. "Ancient Meridian ritual. It creates a bond even programming cannot easily break." He stared at the gleaming weapon. "You're asking me to trust you with a ritual from a civilization that created you as my executioner." "I was not created by Meridians. I was created using their knowledge." Her amber eyes held his. "This oath precedes my programming. It may be our only chance." Against every rational thought, Nikolai took the blade and made a shallow cut across his palm. Their blood mingled as they clasped hands, red meeting silver in swirling patterns. By blood and blade. "Bound to protect, not to harm," Tessa intoned, in a language Nikolai recognized from his research, pure. Unaltered Meridian. What was designed for ending, I pledged to beginning. As the words faded, her bioluminescent markings flared brilliantly, then settled into a new pattern across her skin. Something fundamental had changed. Did it work? Nikolai asked as they landed on the sanctuary moon. Tessa flexed her hand, studying the already healing wound. "The directive remains, but ... distant. Muted. For the first time, a ghost of a smile touched her lips. "I have bought us time, Commander Reeves." As they stepped onto the surface of the sanctuary moon, neither noticed the small tracking beacon that had activated on their shuttle, sending a silent signal into the depths of space. The sanctuary moon's perpetual twilight cast long shadows through the ancient Meridian ruins. 3 days had passed since their landing, and Nikolai had thrown himself into repairing the shuttle while deciphering the wealth of archaeological data surrounding them. The ruins predated those on Vastrian by centuries, offering insights that would have thrilled him under different circumstances. "You should eat," Tessa said, approaching with a portion of synthesized rations. Her movements had grown more fluid, less mechanical. Since the blood oath, Nikolai accepted the food, studying her with scientific curiosity. "The oath is still holding." She nodded, settling beside him with unnatural grace. "The compulsion remains, but as an echo, at a command." Her amber eyes surveyed the holographic schematics he'd been analyzing. "You seek answers about the Syndicate, and about you," he admitted. "What you are, how they created you?" Tessa touched one of the glyphs on the hologram, enlarging it. "This symbol represents Genesis, creation through combination." The Meridians believed in perfect fusion. They did not conquer species. They merged with them. Is that what you are? A deliberate fusion of human and Meridian genetics. Partially. The Syndicate recovered Meridian genetic templates and merged them with modified human DNA. Her bioluminescent patterns rippled as she spoke. "I am what they call a chimera, designed for specific targets. It's programmed with combat instincts and adaptive abilities." Nikolai's scientific mind raced with implications. "But why create something so advanced just to kill me?" "I'm a researcher, not a political figure or military leader." Before she could answer, proximity alert blared from their makeshift camp. Tessa was on her feet instantly, blades drawn. "We have company," she whispered, her pupils dilating to capture more light. "Single craft, stealth design, military grade." They retreated deeper into the ruins as a sleek black ship descended near their damaged shuttle. Its design was unfamiliar, neither Union nor hegemony standard. The vessel's hull seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. "Syndicate?" Nikolai asked, keeping his voice low. Tessa shook her head. "Independent. A hunter. The ship's hatch opened, revealing a massive figure in articulated armor. Even from a distance, Nikolai could see the arsenal of weapons integrated into the suit. The hunter moved with methodical precision, examining their shuttle before beginning to track their footprints in the moon's soft soil. "He's good," Tessa observed, respect coloring her tone. "Talon-class mercenary. They don't come cheap. You know him?" "I know the type. The Syndicate uses them for cleanup when their own assets fail." Her eyes narrowed. "He's here for both of us." They retreated further into the labyrinthine ruins. Using Tessa's enhanced senses to stay one step ahead of their pursuer, as night fell fully on the sanctuary moon, they found refuge in an underground chamber, its walls covered in Meridian script that glowed faintly in the darkness. "We can't keep running," Nikolai said, catching his breath. "The shuttle's almost repaired. If we can reach it tonight, ... he will have set traps," Tessa countered. "And disabled critical systems." Nikolai leaned against the ancient wall, fatigue washing over him. "Then we're trapped. Unless ... he looked up at the glowing script surrounding them. "Unless these ruins hold something we can use?" The Meridians were masters of defensive technology. Tessa's expression shifted subtly. "You seek to fight rather than flee." "I'm tired of being a pawn," he said firmly. "It's time we learned why I'm worth killing, and who's pulling the strings." For a moment, something like admiration flickered in Tessa's eyes. She approached one of the wall panels, her fingers tracing glyphs with practiced familiarity. "These chambers were designed as sanctuaries during the Meridian Civil War," she explained. "They contain defensive measures that can be activated." She pressed a sequence of symbols, and the floor beneath them illuminated with a complex grid. "This map shows the entire complex and the hunter's current position." Nikolai studied the map in wonder. "How do you know how to operate this technology?" Tessa hesitated, her markings pulsing erratically. "I don't know. The knowledge is simply there, accessible." She looked troubled by this realization. More evidence of my design. As they formulated a plan, Nikolai observed the subtle changes in Tessa's behavior, the increasing range of expressions, the growing hesitation before she spoke, as if she were forming her own thoughts rather than retrieving programmed responses. "The blood oath did more than suppress your killing directive, didn't it?" he asked quietly. Her amber eyes met his. "It awakened something unintended. Autonomy, choice." Her voice dropped almost to a whisper. "It terrifies me." The vulnerability in her admission struck Nikolai deeply. This engineered weapon was experiencing the fundamental human condition, the burden and gift of free will. "We'll figure this out together," he promised, impulsively reaching for her hand. "After we deal with our hunter," the contact sent an unexpected charge between them. Tessa's markings flared brilliantly, and she withdrew her hand, confusion evident on her features. "He's moving," she said, redirecting their attention to the map. "Setting a perimeter of proximity mines around our shuttle." Nikolai nodded, forcing his focus back to survival. "Then we activate the sanctuary defenses and make our move." As they prepared to face the hunter, neither acknowledged the growing connection between them, a bond forming that went beyond blood oaths and programming, something neither creator nor engineer could have anticipated. Outside, the mercenary methodically continued his hunt, unaware that his prey was preparing to become the predator. The ancient Meridian defenses hummed to life, energy signatures pulsing through pathways dormant for millennia. Nikolai watched in fascination as Tessa's hands danced across the control interface, her movements growing more confident with each activation sequence. "Displacement fields online," she announced, amber eyes tracking the hunter's position on the holographic map, sensory disruptors charging. Nikolai studied the complex system she was manipulating. "How are you interfacing so icily with technology this old?" "Muscle memory," Tessa replied, though uncertainty flickered across her features. "Or perhaps ... double quotes." She paused, fingertips hovering above the controls. "Perhaps something deeper." Their plan was dangerous, but elegant in its simplicity. The ruins' defensive systems would create false heat signatures to draw the hunter into a labyrinth of displacement fields, ancient technology that distorted space in subtle, disorienting ways. "He's taking the bait," Nikolai observed as the mercenaries' marker on the map changed direction, heading toward one of their decoys. Time to move. They navigated through passages that had been designed to confuse invaders. Tessa leading with preternatural awareness of each turn and chamber. When they emerged near their shuttle, the hunter was nowhere in sight, trapped in the maze they had created. "That won't hold him long," Tessa warned as they approached the vessel. "His armor likely has countermeasures for spatial distortion." Nikolai quickly examined the shuttle, locating the proximity mines the hunter had placed. "These are military grade. I can't disarm them without triggering a cascade detonation." "Step back," Tessa instructed, drawing one of her blades. The weapon hummed with energy as she approached the nearest mine. With surgical precision, she inserted the tip of her blade into an almost invisible seam in the device. The resonance frequency of meridian alloy disrupts the arming mechanism. One by one, she neutralized the explosives, her movements becoming increasingly fluid and intuitive. Nikolai watched with growing realization that she was accessing knowledge beyond her programming, something embedded in her very cells. "You're remembering, aren't you?" he asked quietly. Not from programming, but from genetic memory. Tessa disabled the final mine before turning to face him. The Meridians believed knowledge existed in the blood, in the very structure of life itself. "The Syndicate used this principle in my creation." Her voice wavered slightly. "I am accessing memories that never belonged to me." A distant explosion echoed. Through the ruins, their hunter had broken free of the displacement maze. "Get the engine started," Tessa commanded. Pushing Nikolai toward the shuttle. "I'll hold him off. I'm not leaving you behind," he protested. "This isn't sacrifice," she replied, a new determination in her eyes. "This is choice." Before he could argue further, she vanished into the shadows between ruined columns, her blades drawn. Nikolai reluctantly entered the shuttle, working furiously to complete the repairs while monitoring the area through external sensors. The hunter emerged from the ruins, his armor scorched but functional. He moved with methodical purpose, scanning the area with advanced targeting systems. Suddenly, Tessa dropped from above, her blades striking precisely at the junction points in his armor. The mercenary was fast despite his size, twisting away from what would have been a killing blow. He deployed a shock weapon that Tessa barely avoided, the energy discharge leaving a crater in the ground where she had stood. Nikolai watched the battle unfold with his heart in his throat. Tessa moved like liquid lightning, each attack flowing into the next, but the hunter was formidably equipped. When a glancing blow from his gauntlet sent her tumbling across the ground, Nikolai abandoned the repairs and grabbed the emergency plasma cutter. "Hey!" he shouted, firing a wild shot that forced the mercenary to take cover. "Who hired you?" "The Syndicate." The hunter paused, his helmet turning toward Nikolai. When he spoke, his voice was distorted through external speakers. "Professor Nikolai Reeves," he intoned. "Your significance escapes me, but your bounty is substantial." "Who's paying?" Nikolai demanded, keeping the cutter aimed at the hunter while Tessa recovered. "Questions reduce profit margins," the mercenary replied. "Though I admit curiosity about your companion. She matches no known combat model in my database." Tessa rose, blood silvery in the moonlight where it trickled from a cut on her cheek. "I am unique," she stated, her markings pulsing with renewed intensity. "And I have chosen my path." The hunter tilted his head. "Impossible. Chimeras don't choose. They obey." "This one does," Nikolai declared, moving to stand beside Tessa. "And we're leaving together," the mercenary assessed them for a calculated moment before reaching to his gauntlet. "Interesting. This changes parameters." He tapped a sequence into his armor's interface. "New offer. Triple my fee for information on a self-determining chimera," before either could respond. The ruins behind them suddenly erupted with searing light. Ancient defense systems, far more powerful than those they had activated, unleashed devastating energy across the landscape. The hunter was caught in the blast, his shields failing under the onslaught. "Get in," Tessa shouted, pushing Nikolai toward the shuttle as secondary explosions rocked the sanctuary moon. The ruins are initiating a purge protocol. They barely made it inside before the ground beneath them began to fracture. Nikolai threw himself into the pilot's seat, overriding safety protocols to force an emergency launch. The damaged shuttle groaned in protest but lifted off as the ancient sanctuary tore itself apart. What happened? Nikolai gasped as they broke atmosphere, the moon becoming a sphere of chaotic energy beneath them. Tessa stared out the viewport, her expression haunted. Final defense. If the sanctuary is compromised, it destroys itself rather than allow its secrets to be taken. As they entered the safety of open space, Nikolai noticed Tessa trembling, her hands gripping the edge of her seat with such force that the metal was bending. "Tessa," he asked cautiously. "The directive," she whispered, her voice strained. "It's fighting the oath. Your proximity intensifies the conflict." Nikolai moved toward her slowly. "Tell me what you need." Her amber eyes locked with his, pupils contracted, two thin slits. "I need to remember I am more than my programming." She released the crushed metal, her fingers gradually uncurling. "The hunter called me a chimera, but that's only half-truth. I am becoming something else, something unplanned. Evolution," Nikolai suggested. "Or maybe revolution." A shudder ran through her as she fought her original directive. "The Syndicate created me to end you because you discovered something. Something in your research threatens them." "My research?" "I specialize in Meridian language and cultural artifacts." What could possibly? Nikolai stopped mid-sentence, a realization dawning. The Transcendence Protocol. It was theoretical, a concept in Meridian philosophy I uncovered last year. I thought it was religious symbolism. Tessa's markings flared in recognition. "It's not symbolic. It's technological. The ultimate evolution of consciousness." Her voice gained strength as she spoke. "The Syndicate fears what you might uncover." As the shuttle's navigation system plotted a course to the nearest Union outpost, Nikolai watched Tessa wage her internal battle. Her programming demanded his death, yet she fought against it with every fiber of her being in that moment. He understood that their connection had become something profound, a bond between two individuals rejecting the paths others had designed for them. Whatever came next, they would face it together, their fates now irrevocably intertwined. The Union outpost on Helios Station wasn't much to look at, a collection of modular structures orbiting a dwarf star, populated by scientists, traders, and the occasional military personnel. What it lacked in aesthetics, it made up for in security and advanced research facilities. Director Verona Fleming greeted Nikolai with genuine concern when their damaged shuttle docked. She was an old colleague, one of the few people in the Union's scientific division he truly trusted. 6 months without contact. Then you arrive in a ship that's barely holding together, she remarked, embracing him briefly. Her eyes widened as Tessa emerged from the shuttle. "And with interesting company, Verena. This is Tessa," Nikolai introduced carefully. "She's complicated." The director studied Tessa with professional interest. "I can see that. Biosignature unlike anything in our database." She turned back to Nikolai. "Your private lab is still reserved. I assume that's where you'll want to go?" "Yes," he confirmed. "And we'll need access to the secure archives. The Meridian Transcendence files." Fleming's expression grew serious. "Those were classified after your last publication. Something about potential destabilization of power structures by whom?" Nikolai pressed. "Orders came through diplomatic channels." The hegemony filed a formal protest. Fleming lowered her voice. "There have been rumors, Nikolai. Shadow organizations, pulling strings in the government. Your research touched something sensitive." As they traversed the station's corridors, Tessa remained close to Nikolai, her senses clearly overwhelmed by the bustling environment. Her markings had dimmed to avoid attention, but her distinctive features still drew curious glances. In the privacy of his laboratory, Nikolai activated the security protocols before turning to Fleming. "Verona, what I'm about to tell you sounds impossible, but I need you to listen. Over the next hour," he explained everything, the vault on Vastrian, Tessa's creation, and purpose, the syndicate's manipulation of his career. And the hunter who had pursued them? Fleming listened without interruption, her scientific mind processing the implications. "If what you're saying is true," she finally said, "then this syndicate has infiltrated both the hegemony and union leadership, which is why we need access to my research," Nikolai insisted. "The Transcendence Protocol is the key to understanding why they want me eliminated." Fleming hesitated, then nodded. "I'll authorize it." "But you'll be working against powerful forces, Nikolai." After she left, Tessa approached one of the laboratory windows overlooking the station's main hub. "She fears for you," she observed. "Her concern is genuine." "Verona and I have history," Nikolai explained, activating his research terminal. "She's one of the good ones." Tessa turned to face him. "The directive is weaker here. Distance from Vastrian has helped." Her amber eyes held his. "But it will return at full strength when you access those files. Whatever they contain triggered my creation. Then we need to break your programming completely." Before I open them, Nikolai approached her with determination. "The blood oath created a temporary barrier, but we need something permanent." "There is a way," Tessa said quietly. "But it requires trust beyond reason." For 3 days, they worked in the laboratory, combining Nikolai's knowledge of Meridian culture with Tessa's innate understanding of their technology. They created a neural interface that would allow Nikolai to enter Tessa's consciousness directly, not the superficial connection of their blood oath, but a true melding of minds. "This goes beyond dangerous," Fleming warned when she discovered their plan. "If her killing directive activates while you're connected, then we both die," Nikolai acknowledged. "But if we succeed, we unlock secrets that could change everything." The procedure was deceptively simple. 2 neural bands, modified with Meridian technology, recovered from their journey. As Tessa lay on the examination table, her markings pulsing with nervous energy, Nikolai took her hand. "Whatever happens," he promised, "you're not alone anymore." The connection, when it formed, was nothing like their previous experience. This was not merely sharing memories or emotions. It was existing simultaneously in 2 consciousnesses. Nikolai found himself in a mental landscape structured like Meridian architecture, beautiful and mathematically perfect, yet riddled with dark pulsing veins of foreign code. The killing directive, it appeared as a crimson lattice embedded throughout Tessa's consciousness, constantly regenerating where the blood oath had damaged it. At its core lay a sealed chamber, her true self, fighting to break free. "This is me," Tessa's voice echoed around him, although she wasn't physically present in this mental construct. "What they made me to be, and what I'm becoming?" Nikolai approached the directive's structure, studying its pattern. "It's based on Meridian design principles, but corrupted. Whoever created this didn't fully understand the technology they were copying with methodical precision." He began to identify the key nodes of the programming, each one connected to a memory, a trigger designed to activate her assassination protocols. As he examined each node, he experienced flashes of her training, brutal conditioning disguised as combat preparation. "They hurt you," he whispered, rage building as he witnessed the syndicate's methods. "Pain was instruction," her voice replied, though with a new distance. "I didn't know it was pain until I knew something else." Working together, they began to dismantle the directive's architecture, replacing destructive commands with new pathways. The process was excruciating for both. Tessa experiencing the dissolution,